I've never struggled with a review as much as this one here, and this is Gotham Knights, Episode 2, Scene of the Crime. So let's talk about it. So welcome back to the channel, everyone, and welcome to this review series for the new DC Comics TV series, Gotham Knights. Yes, and boy am I struggling with this episode, or this episode review. I really am. I don't think I've struggled so much with a review in an episode before of anything, and I almost feel like giving up. But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna fight through it. So this episode here continues on from last week's, pretty much. It finds the young crew of teens still on the run, still wanted for the murder of Batman, Bruce Wayne. We catch up with them. They're robbing a shop, a clothes shop. They need some supplies. And like a good lad, Turner Hayes says, we're only borrowing it. It's a loan. We'll pay it back once we clear our names. The police turn up at this juncture and they leg it out of the back door. Yes, only to be confronted by Robin. Robin, who we were introduced to in the first episode, who we know looks nothing like Robin. I've got no issue with her being black. I've got no issue with her being a girl. She has been a girl, Robin, in some of the comics. Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns. So I've got no issue with that. But it's the look of Robin. She looks nothing like Robin. The outfit. There's nothing Robin-y about it whatsoever. But anyway, I digress. She's turned up because the alarms are ringing. But obviously she helps them out, doesn't she? So they go off back to their watchtower hideout, which is in the school, ironically, because no one's going to look that close to home, are they? You know, up in this bell tower, for want of a better word, but it is a bell tower. The irony in that, obviously, batting your belfry and all this sort of a thing. And they decide that they need to try and clear their names. They need to get into Wayne Enterprises. They need some information in there. They want to find out more about the Court of Owls, because obviously they've got this watch with the owl symbol on the back and all that sort of a thing. So they go ahead and do this. They realise that they can do this because Turner Hayes says that we can automatically get in there with one of the Wayne Enterprises security vehicles, because they won't be being looked out for, and they will automatically open the doors for it and all this sort of a thing. So they go in and they head up to Bruce's office. Now, interestingly, little callback, and I'm such a geek for knowing this, that when they pressed the code to get in, it was 1939, the year that Batman first came out. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's so in your face when they've done it that you can't not notice. So they go up there. They find a little diary, what they're looking for, only then they get confronted by the Court of Owls assassin, essentially. Their assassin called the Talon. Who looks pretty good, I'll give him that. He's the one who done the beheading in the last episode. And they have to fight him off, and they find a way out. While this is all going on, we get other scenes occurring elsewhere. Stephanie's off doing her little computer hacky bit, and her mate with a big jaw, he finds out about her helping Turner, but he takes the fall for it a bit, and all this to get her out of trouble, this sort of stuff going on. And then we had a scene where the Gotham PD have actually raided the Batcave. They come down into the Batcave, and we get the same shot as we did in the first episode, where you see that long sort of driveway, the Batmobile parked there, all the lights on, and then the camera spins around, and you've got Harvey Dent stood there on a set of stairs with the butler woman, and it's very small. It's very much a cave-looking thing. It's no bigger than my front room. Yeah, and they take everything out of the Batcave and take it away. So this sort of stuff is going on. The mayor creates a task force headed by Two-Face to bring these kids down. So, like I said, I liked the first episode. I did. But this episode here, it felt so much cheaper. I didn't really notice it in the first episode, but this episode I did. It's a very set-bound series, and they're utilising all of the same sets that they used in that first episode. This gives it a very small feel. Even when they're out and about, they do a couple of scenes on the streets. There's a fight between Turner and Robin and the Talon guy. Yeah, and it looks pretty cheap. The writing isn't particularly great. The acting isn't particularly great either. Now, I know I'm being very critical of this, but the show's got potential. There's some characters that are interesting, namely Dwella. She's quite an interesting character. Stephanie's an interesting character, and the female row girl, Harper. She's quite interesting. The others, to be honest, Turner Hayes and Colin Rowe, they're pretty forgettable. It's these three girls that are more interesting characters within this programme from my perspective, from what I can see. And obviously Harvey Dent himself. Yes. Now, there's a lot of questions as to who the Court of Owls murderer is, the Talon, who is behind that mask. Obviously, the lady who's the new butler, she has something to do with the Court of Owls. We know that from the first episode. We know it from the end of this episode, and it would seem that my money's on her. My money's on her. What are your thoughts? Who do you think might be under that cowl, shall we say? Yeah. So this series suffers from most of what CW suffered from, and that is a lack of budget. But I feel here that the budget is even far less than what it has been on some of their other shows, not counting Superman and Lois, which has a decent budget. But this show isn't special effects heavy really, beyond settings and things like this. We don't rely on superpowers or that kind of a thing, so the budget isn't there. This show has got a minimalistic budget, very, very small. Like they know that this sort of stuff is coming to an end. There's not much interest in this sort of series anymore. Yeah, it's a shame, really, to be honest. And yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Tell me your thoughts on this series. I'm quite negative about this episode today. I will be back next week. I will watch the next episode. It might just be this episode. I can make do with the cheap budget. I can make do with that. I can get past that. But I need good writing. I need the characters to be well written, the acting to be decent, and the stories to be engaging. I can let everything else go. The show's just started. This is its second episode. So, you know, I'm very aware that I need to give the show a chance. It needs to get into its groove. It needs to find its pacing. It needs to find its footing. It needs to find what it's about, what its identity is, and this sort of a thing. And I'm hoping it does. Because a Gotham set show for me is fine. I've got no issue with that. I've got no issue with Batman being taken out of the equation. There's still interesting stories to be told. So tell me yourself, what are your thoughts on this episode? Did you enjoy it? Didn't you enjoy it? I'm really intrigued. I did struggle with this episode. Even reviewing this episode, I've tried recording about 10 times, and even now I'm not happy with it whatsoever. And I don't know if that's because I didn't enjoy the episode. It might well be. It might well be. Thoughts down below. Comments are open. Let's have a nice friendly discussion. Whether you did like it, whether you didn't like it. Yeah, maybe I'm growing beyond this sort of stuff now. I don't know.